Blog Talk Radio.
Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroads where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future. Shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition. Not exactly. It's remarkable, ongoing reality.
Welcome to Transition Radio.
Well, hello, and welcome. My name is Mark Angelo Cummings, and I am your host.
And I'm Linda Lopez, and I'm your hostess.
Tonight we're broadcasting live from the beautiful land of enchantment, Silver City, New Mexico, and the weather is just getting better and better.
It's just like you said.
It's just, yeah. So we just had a little
finally showing up after a long winter.
I know. This probably has been one of the longest winters they have experienced here anyway. Longest winter I've ever experienced in my life because I'm not used to dealing with winters.
Well, yeah, Cuba doesn't really have that many winters, and neither does Florida.
Florida just, you get like 2 or 3 days, and that's about it. Well, anyway, before we start this broadcast, we want to do something.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
What would that be?
What we do every week, or every,
let's
do this
thank
3
our
times.
sponsor.
Right.
Yes. The breastformstore.com has everything, and I mean everything you can imagine, to enhance your feminizing needs.
As well as Spunk Lube. God, is that lube awesome. It's 100% sex toy safe, glycerin free, fun to use. I mean, this is just one of those lubes that you can't put down.
And if you keep the cap on, it'll last longer.
It'll last longer instead of going all over the carpet. But, you know, when you get excited, when you're doing stuff with lube, you know how it goes. But anyway, guys, you know, you can visit their website.
Are you talking about an oil change?
Where's the website?
Their website is at www.spunklube.com.
And if money's tight, we understand that. You give them the code TR, and you will receive a 10% discount. And today, every penny helps.
Yes, it does.
It's crazy. Everything's crazy. The world's just falling apart. You know, our teenagers are just
disillusioned, it seems like, and confused.
And hurt, and really I think that parents are not equipping their children with how to handle bullying situations. Because bullies will be bullies. I mean, you can't change that. So what you can change is how you deal with the situation. And, you know, we want to talk about this trans teen. His name is Blake Brockington, and he ended his life, and as many trans youth have been in the past 6 weeks, I think there's been a lot of...
Well, I mean, the past, since the beginning of the year, there's been a lot of suicide.
And, you know, I truly believe that you can't change the world. You could only change yourself. If you take responsibility and empower yourself, then words that other people might throw at you won't hurt you. And I know it's easier said than done, but it can be done.
But this guy was really doing a great thing. He was really advocating and really out there in front of it all. But I think a lot of times, a lot of these families that disown their children is because of religious reasons. And these kids are so young, you know, they're kind of caught between being kids, being adults, and, you know, I mean, it's puberty and it's teenage drama.
Yeah, see, we all went through that. I mean, I got picked on because I was cross-eyed, because I was different, and I learned that I was not going to empower my enemies, my bullies. So they would say things and go in one ear, out the other. It's like, you know what? I don't need you. I don't care what you have to say. And I developed thick skin. To this day, I still get all sorts of things written on my YouTube videos. You're not a man. You're a girl, and you'll always be a girl. And I turn around and say, you know what? You're right. I am a girl.
Yeah.
You know, I still have a vagina, so you're not going to get any argument from me, so they can't hurt me. You disempower them that way. Anyway, let's read this article. Blake Brockington never had it easy. The 18-year-old was disowned by his friends and family after coming out as trans male, forcing him to be placed in a foster home and bringing him a lot of hardship while he was a student at Charlotte East Mecklenburg High School. But such obstacles never stopped the teen from wanting to change things and make a difference. See, he had it in him.
He did, but look, he was placed in a foster home. Can you believe that?
I know.
His mom and dad would disown him that badly to put him in a foster home.
Unfortunately, while he went out of his way to fight the trans teens in general, for trans teens in general, sorry about that, Bronson's own struggle weighed very heavily on him to the point where the beloved student took his own life earlier this week.
Sad.
Very sad.
According to Q Notes, Brockington committed suicide last Monday. His death was confirmed by Time Out Youth Center, the Charlotte LGBT youth service agency where he found a great deal of support. The agency is now trying to provide counseling for the many young people Brockington touched.
I think that's one of the main things that many gender specialists are probably missing, is the empowerment of the individuals in the trans community. Very fragile individuals in our community. And somehow, some way, it's like working the muscle. You make that muscle strong, where you have to make your emotions strong. You have to make the way you feel and think strong. You know that if you're going to do this, you're going to face a lot of hardship. And that is one of the things. You have to armor yourself to be able to deal with these bullies, with the words that people are going to throw at you. Because that is the only way we're going to prevent these suicides.
Well, no one is saying that being trans is not weird. It is weird.
It is strange.
To the rest of society, like 98% of people probably, this is weird.
Yeah, it is.
I want to know what's going on, and they'll never agree, except for a few people, you know. But it's really sad because this teen is trying to make a difference, but he can't.
He can't. He hasn't been empowered. He didn't start off with a strong base at home. He was weakened. He was sent to foster care. And the armor isn't there. It's like preparing for a fight. You have to do all sorts of things. Boxers have to train. And as transgender individuals, we have to train to deal with a hard world.
But it's like the rug had been pulled from underneath him because basically this kid was a Southern Baptist kid. Okay? He went to school. He lived in North Carolina, which is heavily conservative.
Bible Belt.
Yes. Right? And basically he just did what, you know, he thought he was doing that was right. You know, I mean, he thought that, you know, his Christian upbringing would be a foundation for him, but he found that it wasn't. Yeah.
The teen made national news when he became the first out trans teen to win Homecoming King in North Carolina high school. Bronston won after he raised the most money out of 12 other contestants, which was donated to charity. It was a feat that brought Brockington a platform to tell his story in order to motivate other transgender teens. But it also brought about a lot of hate, and there's the key, from people both in and outside of Charlotte, as he told the Charlotte Observer. That was single-handedly the hardest part of my trans journey. Really hateful things were said on the internet. It was hard. I saw how narrow-minded the world really is. Same thing happened to the trans girl who won
California.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, she disappeared for the longest time. People were worried because it was too much abuse.
It is just deplorable what's happening. You know, the lack of love that people have in their hearts, you know, and predominantly coming from the Christian right. You know, they think that by ignoring, by disowning, by, you know, I mean, all these things that
making fun of. I mean, that's where the fire is fueled. There's a lot of religious belief behind the bullying.
Well, the thing is that Christianity, if it doesn't have the male, female, binary then it can't stand because it exists on that being true.
Exactly.
So the story continues, but Brockington also told Q Notes that stepping forward and choosing to take part in homecoming nominations was something he knew he needed to do because winning could help many others. I honestly feel like this is something I have to do. Nobody should be scared to be themselves, and everybody should have an equal opportunity to have an enjoyable high school experience.
The sad thing is that he thought he could handle the heat, and he obviously was not able to. And I'm telling you, I mean, we've had a lot of stories about me in the media, and the comments in the comment section of all these either daily news or anything that I've done in the past. I mean, it's just, you get these people that are just so cruel.
Even now.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
just yesterday you read a story to me, read a comment from your taboo story, you know, that was on mainstream media.
Yeah.
And they're just telling you
all sorts of stuff. But I just agree with them. Hey, you're right, you know, but hey, you know, that way they stop because I'm no longer saying, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
but in the past you would have done that. You would have said, no, I'm not. I am.
Oh, the first couple of years.
I am a guy.
Yeah, the first couple of years of my transition, I was bent to tell people that I was a man. And after a while, I learned, you know what? They're not going to ever see me as such. Why am I fighting this losing battle?
And then you looked at yourself.
I looked at myself and I said, my God, you know, they're right. You know, and once I freed myself from the delusion of thinking one thing, I am much better off now because no one can hurt me. Anyway, the story continues. Brockington did a great deal of activist work, not only for LGBT rights, but in an effort to raise awareness about police brutality through the Black Lives Matter movement. The team was also the subject of a documentary that started filming last year called Brockington. Those behind it mourned his loss on YouTube this week.
They said, quote, we dedicate this film in loving memory of Blake Brockington, who took his life. He was an inspiration for humankind. Blake was the most passionate, giving, and loving person we have ever met. May his soul live on, and we hope that his message affects you all as much as it did for us.
Brockington, a freshman at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, made quite the impact in a very short amount of time. Despite the attacks he faced from people in his community and even from his family, he made a lot of sacrifices so that others wouldn't feel as left out in the cold as he did.
He said, I've had a hard time coming out to my family. I had a hard time coming out to my friends at school, but I did it. I've lost a lot of friends. I don't talk to a lot of my family anymore. But I want other trans youth to understand that they're not alone and that this is a large community. I wish he would have had more community.
I wish he would have too. And I wish he would have understood that it doesn't matter what other people say. As long as you stand strong in your belief and your being you, that is all that matters. He was a good-looking kid too.
He was, and he was very eloquent. You know, I watched some of his videos, and he came across really good on camera and had a really, really outgoing personality, and it's a shame and sad that we would lose such a great person.
You know, I challenge gender specialists to really create a formula, a program that will help not just the teens, because there's a lot of individuals who are also transgender that are adults that end up taking their lives because, again, they can't deal with the heat. So I really challenge the gender specialists out there to do a little bit more than just hand out these letters like they're candy and really look into the strength of the character of the person, how weak their emotions are, or how strong, you know, what can they do to strengthen? Because, you know, and then I also challenge the Christian community, if you're so God-loving and following the word of Christ, what would Jesus do? That's my question to you. You may not agree with what we do. You may not like what we do.
Or who we are.
But find it in your hearts of hearts to love unconditionally and to accept that not everyone's going to fit into your perfect little Bible box. And that maybe, just maybe, those that you think are freaks, those that you hate, are here to teach you something. Rise up to that challenge.
Well, going along with the theme of a child coming out to their family, this gay teen recorded something that is going to be disturbing to anyone who listens to it, because he recorded the time that he came out to his parents, and his parents were Christian.
Yes.
So they did not agree whatsoever. The mother at the beginning seems to acknowledge that the child actually was gay from the start, but then she says that it's a choice.
Right. And it's just her beliefs are not allowing her to feel the full love, and she's breaking all the laws of love and what Jesus says by neglecting to understand and love her son no matter what. Anyway.
Last summer, 19-year-old Daniel Ashley Pierce faced a kind of gay intervention, quote-unquote, from his family in Georgia. He had previously come out to his family, including his father and stepmother, to little response. However, Daniel soon found himself facing what he calls a, quote, delayed intervention, unquote. He secretly recorded the experience. His motivation to record it, according to an interview with the Huffington Post, was to have evidence in case something happened. Well, these fears, unfortunately, became all too true.
Daniel faced both verbal and physical abuse from his family. You heard that correctly. Afterwards, Daniel's friend posted the video to her YouTube account. While you can't see much, the audio is emotionally difficult to listen to and more than disturbing.
The mother said, "You can deny all you want to," says a woman, possibly Daniel's stepmother, in the video, "but I believe in the Word of God, and God creates nobody that way. It's a path that you have chosen to choose."
Daniel, who seems to have come prepared to the encounter with some good arguments, cannot prevent tempers from flaring. There is a physical altercation, and Daniel's called derisive terms. After being disowned and abused, Daniel left.
The good news is that Daniel has supportive friends and a boyfriend. According to the latest reports, he's living with a trusted relative.
Moreover, Daniel's video and story quickly went viral. The global LGBT and ally community pitched in to support him and donated close to $100,000 via Daniel's GoFundMe campaign. Daniel was overwhelmed by the support and even closed the campaign, telling donors that they can send money in support of Atlanta-based lostandfound.org instead.
my mother. Really. So all of that work that she told me about, I support you. I don't support you. And we don't know what you're having. You do. So, and I have a lot of friends that are gay, but they're friends. So me, I'm not related. That's not what you told me that day on the couch. That doesn't seem very motherly to me. It's just something your dad and telling him that he's a racist and that your dad didn't raise you. Your dad's gone to bat for you for the last 20 years of your life. That man's put a roof over your head. He's put food on your table. That's not racing. You want to help wait a minute. None of these people have raised you. You're full of shit. And you told me on the phone that you made that choice. You know you wasn't born that way. You know damn good well you made that choice. You know that this man has done everything he can to raise you. And you told me right on that damn phone that that was the choice you made. He didn't need to blame himself. So don't fill these people full of bullshit, Daniel. You're twisting my words. You want to twist everything. You are a completely different person. Let me tell you something.
Out of shape. They were a little winded there, but that was a very disturbing,
very
audio.
sad. I mean, it's one of those things where it's really a shame that these people would even call themselves parents or even Christians to hear that degree of hatred, you know, being spewed out towards this teen who is discovering himself and trying to understand his own sexuality, that they would choose to disown him is really a travesty. Really sad.
And to call him the names they call him and to violently go and attack and hit him just like that. I mean, he's a young adult. You don't put your hand on a young adult.
No.
You know, I mean, I'm just very, very saddened by what these so-called God-loving, Christ-following folks do.
I mean, I am not surprised because, no, I haven't experienced that degree of hatred, but hatred doesn't need to come in violent forms. It can also come through ignoring and also silence.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really sad that these people who claim to be all this type of good people, they're nothing like that. It's like Gandhi said,
I like your Christ,
but I really dislike
your people,
his followers.
They shouldn't be allowed to be parents. They really shouldn't. And, you know,
bottom line is, if you can't love a child that is special needs, if you can't love a child that's gay, if you can't love a child that's trans, if you can't love without anything in front of it, there's no reason that you should even bring a child to this planet.
And expect this child to be a clone of your program beliefs. That's child abuse in my book.
I mean, that is really something that needs to be exposed and stopped, because that is not how we deal with people. That's not how we deal with our children. That's not how we deal with our friends or anyone. We don't do that.
Yeah, that was wrong. Very disturbing. And like him, there are many kids that have been disowned, and majority by Christians, because they'd rather be good with their Christian brothers and sisters and show face than to be ashamed.
I mean, even like, people tell, the big consensus of the kind of counsel that goes on in these Christian circles is that, like, say, Pat Robertson, who has the 700 Club, he gets a lady to call in, and she talks about her gay son and how he's going to get married. And, she asks him of his opinion, and he says, well, we don't condone this type of behavior, so I would not set foot in that church to condone that marriage. And how about condoning love for your child? How about just loving your child where they're at?
And no matter what.
So what if you don't agree with gay marriage, but you stand with your child because your child is your child?
That's what it's called, unconditional love, and unfortunately many Christians, I don't want to say all, but many Christians do not know that word or that feeling. Anyway, we're going to switch gears here a little bit on our supernatural part of the show. Lots of more UFO reports. It's amazing.
We got outside here just yesterday. No.
We saw one landing.
No, I think it was an RV headlight.
It probably
was.
In our way. Anyway, hundreds of residents of Cannock Chase in Staffordshire, UK, witnessed a UFO flying very low, slowly and loudly in the sky over homes in the area on March 24th, 2015.
The incident, which took place around 9 p.m. local time, caused a great stir even in an area that has become notorious over the years as a UFO hotspot.
According to local witnesses, minutes before the object became visible in the air, a very loud droning noise could be heard, and soon a massive aircraft appeared, moving slowly over homes with 3 red lights.
It was flying so low that many feared it was going to crash and cause a major catastrophe. At first, many thought it was an aircraft in distress.
But according to the Birmingham Mail, immediately after the incident, hundreds of residents took to social media to report their experiences.
One said, my house was rumbling, and I'm still shaking. It was slow, and it was huge.
Way too slow for a fighter jet, said someone else. It flew directly over our house, made a sharp left turn, and carried on.
Another yet said, it was stupidly loud. My heart is still pounding.
Another one said, I heard it and thought that's low, though it might have been a plane coming down. It looked like one big thing with 3 lights, scared the bejesus out of me.
Another yet said, I heard it very low and loud, sounding and seemed to last for about 3 minutes. The dog went mad.
Another one said it wasn't a fighter jet, way too big. 3 red lights, 1 at the rear, 1 on each wing. Usually commercial planes have flashing lights, but this just had 3 solid red lights. It could have been a large military plane, especially with such an unusual flight path.
A paranormal investigator, Lee Brickley, described his experience on the Paranormal Cannock Chase blog. As the UFO flew over the area, he described the noise as similar to the engine of an old World War II bomber.
Before anything could be seen with the naked eye, there was a deep and very loud droning. After around 3 minutes, the craft came into sight. It seemed incredibly large and astonishingly low in the sky with 3 red lights that were easily noticeable. The UFO traveled very slowly, and many people thought it was about to crash.
Another journalist, Hannah Hiles, agreed with Brickley that the thunderous noise continued for several minutes after the craft had disappeared. She said the noise was much more prolonged than that of the noise of military jets.
Although some locals thought it was likely an alien UFO flying over the area, many thought it was more likely a prototype of a secret military aircraft under development. Others thought it was possibly a military aircraft from the U.S. aircraft carrier that recently arrived off the coast of Portsmouth.
Quickly ruled out the earlier explanation that it was an aircraft from a nearby airport in distress. I've checked online with flight tracking services, and I've concluded that it would be impossible for this to have been a plane in trouble. There simply weren't any flights in the area at that specific time. I also contacted Birmingham Airport to make sure, and they confirmed none of the flights leaving or arriving at the airport experienced issues that would have led them to fly so low.
A spokesperson for the British UFO Research Association, BUFORA, said it was likely a drone, pointing to the fact that several recent UFO alerts turned out to be drones. A spokesperson who thought it could also be a secret military aircraft undergoing testing said, "I'm sure it's something that can be explained. Whether it will be explained is another matter. There are so many drones around."
Both Brickley and the BUFORA spokesperson agreed that it would be difficult to rule out the possibility that it was a secret military aircraft undergoing testing, because the military authorities tend to be very reticent about issues involving their secret projects. It's not like they want to just expose it all,
But, one of the things that caught my attention is the loud noise, which normally advanced UFO make no noise.
Right.
That's one of the things that many of the UFO sightings have reported, that there's no noise at all. Very quiet, because alien technology is very advanced.
Right.
So this right here leads me to believe either it was a very not advanced alien race that still are not using the prototype of or it's something government related, with the 3 red lights and the loud noise, because our government's still working on this UFO type aircrafts, and they haven't mastered it yet, I assume.
Well, this is something that happened here on Earth, but going to space with this other story is a NASA engineer reports of a 9-foot alien humanoid on the space shuttle back in 1991.
Well, it says a former NASA engineer claims he saw a 9-foot alien while monitoring a space mission in 1991. Clark McClellan was allegedly part of a team based at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. I'd been there, too, when he spotted that extraterrestrial humanoid. You've been there as well, right?
I have. The entity, he says, stood on 2 legs and approached 2 U.S. astronauts that he would not name for 1 minute and 7 seconds in the space shuttle bay.
His story has been hailed by supporters as the most conclusive evidence that intelligent life exists in space.
McClellan claims the U.S. government has stripped him of his pension and forced him to live on Social Security, despite insisting he has served on more than 800 NASA missions. Here's what he had to say.
There, on one of my mission assignments, I observed an 8 to 9 foot tall entity. I will not call it an alien because I can't prove that. An 8 to 9 foot tall anything inside the space shuttle that was built for only people 6 foot or under is something to question. I did see an alien craft hovering behind the space shuttle above pods. That's the area of their main engines in the rear. My friend in California, who has passed away now, contacted me and told me that he had another person that observed an 8 to 9 foot tall entity during another mission of a space shuttle. It was in the crew compartment. The crew compartment? Yes. I talked to this witness. He said that the entity was bending over in order to knock his head on the ceiling. And I thought, my God, such cases like this, how can anyone hide it? He said, I don't know.
Interesting.
Very paranormal and alien-like.
Yes.
If it's true, it would be really, really crazy to think that these astronauts actually had a conversation or something was going on with this alien life form.
Well, there's been a lot of reports from astronauts, and they've been tried to silence them, but it appears that just more and more have come out. There's disclosure evidently is on its way, because you can't keep hiding this. You can't keep hiding the fact that we're not alone. I believe that we have been visited for the longest time. I know the government knows, the shadow government has all sorts of programs in place, and it's just a matter of time.
Well, the fact is that these alien life forms have been visiting this planet ever since this planet was even in existence.
And that's who I believe created us.
And that's for another show.
That is for another show. Anyway, guys, Wednesday is your health and fitness section, so tune in for Wednesday. And, you know, if you guys want us to talk about any particular topic or anything that you want to learn, you're free to call in at any time at 646-716-6895 or shoot us an email at transitionradioshow@gmail.com if you want us to discuss any particular diseases, any particular diet plans, any questions that you might have. We welcome your feedback, your comments, and questions. Guys, if you can live your truth,
then it's just not worth living.
Good night, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye-bye, everybody.